The sky had never looked so empty. Cole Matthews stood on the roof of an abandoned convenience store in southern Missouri, his rifle cradled in tired arms. The once bustling town of Ridgway stretched out before him like a ghost draped in ash, broken windows, overturned cars, a silence that made his heart pound louder than it should. It had been 78 days since the last broadcast. 78 days since the government's final transmission declared a nationwide quarantine. What followed wasn't order, it was chaos, screaming, and then silence. Cities fell within hours. Towns like Ridgway held out longer, but it never mattered. They all ended the same way. "Movement," whispered Jenna, kneeling behind a rusted AC unit. Her dirty blonde hair was tied back, face streaked with grime, green eyes sharp as a blade. Cole followed her gaze. Down below, lurching out from behind a burned-out bus, came two walkers, zombies, though no one called them that anymore. The word had lost meaning. These weren't just undead. They were fast. Evolving. "Scouts," Cole murmured. "Testing the perimeter again." "They're not supposed to think like that," Jenna hissed. "They're not supposed to do a lot of things," he replied. The two walkers sniffed the air, their heads twitching with unnatural speed. Their skin looked leathery, stretched too tightly over bone. One of them turned its head almost completely around, like a bird. Jenna sucked in a breath. "Shoot," she asked. "Not yet." Behind them, a soft creak echoed from the stairwell leading to the roof. Cole spun around, rifle raised. A face emerged, young, sweat-soaked, and wide-eyed. It was Max, the 17-year-old kid they had picked up outside Kansas City. "They're coming," Max panted, breathless. The north road swarming with them. "At least 50, some of them are fast. Real fast." Cole felt the blood drain from his face. 50? You sure? I saw them. They're not shambling anymore. They're moving like animals. Jenna cursed under her breath. "They're circling. Herding us in." Cole didn't respond right away. He looked down at the two walkers again. They hadn't moved closer. They were watching. Waiting. He turned to Max. "Get back downstairs. Wake Sierra and tell her to prep the truck. We're moving in 5. Max nodded and disappeared, his footsteps quick and nervous. Jenna stared at Cole. "You really think we'll make it out?" "No," he said. "But standing still guarantees we won't." They descended into the dim interior of the store, where the smell of mildew and oil clung to the cracked tiles. Sierra was already awake, strapping gear onto her back and double-checking her shotgun. A former nurse, Sierra had become their group's medic and moral compass. If not for her, Cole figured they'd all be dead or worse. "How bad is it?" she asked. "Bad," Cole said. Max saw a swarm coming from the north. "We've got maybe 10 minutes before they're on us." She nodded grimly. "We going south?" "Only option left." "What about the bridge?" she asked. "It's either still intact or crawling with infected," Cole replied. "Either way, it's better than waiting here." Outside, the sun had started its slow descent behind gray clouds. Shadows grew long. Every moment felt heavier. Cole climbed into the truck's cab, with Sierra beside him and Jenna riding shotgun. Max clung to the roll cage in the back with a hunting rifle. The engine roared to life, echoing like a thunderclap across the empty streets. Immediately, the two walkers turned and shrieked, a bone-rattling scream that pierced the stillness. And from every street, alley, and hidden nook, more of them came. "Go!" Jenna yelled. Cole slammed the gas. The tires squealed. The truck barreled down the cracked road, swerving around wreckage. Dozens of the infected sprinted after them, their limbs jerking with unnatural force. Behind them, Max opened fire, picking off the closest ones. "Faster!" Sierra shouted. "We're already flying." The bridge came into view, a metal skeleton arching over a dried-out riverbed. As they neared, Cole's heart sank. The bridge was damaged. A truck had jackknifed near the middle, blocking most of the path. The infected were closing in, climbing over cars, screeching with fury. No time to turn around. Jenna screamed. Hold on. Cole gritted his teeth and accelerated, aiming for the narrowest gap next to the wrecked truck. The tires bumped over debris, the frame groaned, and the world turned sideways as they clipped the edge. But they made it. The truck skidded to a halt on the other side. Everyone was breathing hard. Max looked like he might puke. The horde stood at the far end, staring, pacing back and forth. They weren't trying to cross. They're waiting. Sierra whispered. They know we're going south, Cole said. They're letting us go. Why? Jenna asked. Cole looked out at the barren horizon, where the mountains met a haze of red dust. Because whatever's down there is worse. Let me know when you're ready for part 2. The road south was cracked and covered in wind-blown dirt. The world around them looked forgotten, fields of dead grass, farmhouses collapsed into themselves, and telephone poles leaning like drunks frozen mid-stagger. Cole drove with one hand on the wheel, the other on his sidearm. Every bump made the suspension groan, and every creak made someone flinch. Still nothing on the scanner, he asked. Jenna shook her head, holding the old military radio. Static. Same as it's been for weeks. Then we're still blind, Cole muttered. Max leaned forward from the back seat, his face pale but focused. What do you think was waiting for us down here? Why didn't they chase us? Sierra, riding shotgun now, turned slightly. Maybe they're not chasing because they already have something waiting. Cole didn't like the sound of that. He hated it even more because it made sense. We'll head for Baxter Ridge, he said. The town's high up, good elevation. If there's anything left of the people there, they'll have fortified it. Jenna gave him a hard look. You mean if they're not infected? Cole nodded silently. 2 hours passed. The landscape grew more skeletal, bones of civilization laid bare. A diner with blood-smeared windows. A playground overtaken by vines. Gas stations long since looted. The silence wasn't peaceful. It was expectant. Suddenly, Sierra tensed. Stop the truck. Cole hit the brakes. Dust plumed around them. Over there, she said, pointing to a tree line just off the road. Something moved. Cole grabbed his binoculars and scanned the trees. At first, he saw nothing, just branches, trunks, and then, a flicker of movement. A man? No, two. Dragging something heavy. Survivors, he whispered. Or looters. He climbed out, motioning the others to stay low. Jenna followed close behind, silent as a shadow. They crept toward the tree line, rifles raised. The closer they got, the clearer the picture became. 2 men, faces half covered in rags, were dragging a limp body wrapped in tarps. One of them wore a military vest. The other had a shotgun slung lazily over his shoulder. Drop it! Cole shouted, stepping out. The 2 froze. The one with the vest raised his hands. We're not infected, he said calmly. Name's Tyler. This is Rafe. We were just... What's in the tarp? Jenna interrupted. Tyler hesitated. Rafe dropped the tarp and backed away, eyes shifting nervously. Cole moved closer and peeled it open. A teenage girl. Pale. Eyes closed. Still breathing, but barely. She's alive, Cole growled. What the hell were you doing? Saving her. Rafe barked. We found her in the ruins near Highway 17. She was running from a swarm. We weren't gonna hurt her, Tyler added quickly. She collapsed. We were taking her to Baxter Ridge. Thought it was safer that way. Cole exchanged a look with Jenna. Convenient, she muttered. Let's take them back to the truck, Cole said. If they're lying, we'll know soon enough. They returned to the truck with the girl and the 2 strangers. Sierra immediately knelt beside the girl and checked her vitals. Fever, she murmured. She's dehydrated. No visible bites though. She might make it. Max kept his rifle loosely aimed at Rafe and Tyler. We've been trying to get to Baxter too, Tyler said. Last I heard, they held the town after the second wave. Big wall. Runners couldn't get through. Cole squinted at him. Runners? Yeah, Tyler said grimly. Not all of them are slow. Some are upgraded. That word twisted in Cole's gut. Then Baxter better be ready, Cole muttered. Because we're bringing company. Sierra sat back on her heels. She's waking up. The girl stirred, groaning softly. Her lips cracked as she whispered something. What did she say? Max asked. Sierra leaned in, then looked up, eyes wide. She said they're following her. Cole's stomach dropped. How long ago did you find her? About an hour before you showed up, Tyler replied. Cole's head snapped to Jenna. We've got to move. Now. As if in answer, the wind shifted, and on it came a sound that froze the blood in every vein. Howls. Distant, animalistic, but undeniably human in origin. Not a pack. A hunting party. They piled into the truck. Rafe and Tyler clung to the sides while Sierra cradled the girl inside. Cole slammed the accelerator and peeled off toward Baxter Ridge, the engine screaming like a warning. Behind them, the howls grew louder. Closer. Smarter. The infected weren't chasing blindly anymore. They were tracking. And they were closing in. The truck roared over broken asphalt, swerving around an overturned delivery van that looked like it had been gutted from the inside. Max kept his eyes on the rearview, hands trembling as he gripped the back of Cole's seat. They're gaining, Max muttered, voice nearly drowned by the engine. Cole leaned forward, eyes locked on the road. How many? Too many, Max said. And they're not just running. They're leaping. Like animals. Sierra wiped sweat from the fevered girl's brow as the vehicle bucked over debris. The girl, unconscious again, twitched with each bump. Her skin burned against Sierra's palm. They're tracking her, she said. Not us. Her. Then let's make sure she survives, Cole snapped. Tyler and Rafe clung to the outside rails, weapons drawn, eyes wide. Behind them, shadows darted between trees and abandoned husks of buildings, the infected moving with inhuman grace and vicious intent. Up ahead, the road began to climb. Baxter Ridge. The town's silhouette appeared like a fortress on the hill, sharp angles of makeshift barricades, metal fencing, watchtowers welded from truck beds and highway signs. A long concrete bridge spanned the ravine just before the entrance. They fortified it, Jenna breathed. They actually did it. Doesn't mean they'll let us in, Cole said, slamming the horn. The blare echoed across the ravine. Seconds later, figures appeared along the walls, armed, armored, faces shadowed under makeshift helmets. One of them raised a megaphone. Turn around or get turned into bait. Wait. Sierra leaned out the window, holding up the girl's arm. We've got a survivor, she's hurt. She needs help. A pause. Then another voice, older, commanding. Bring her to the gate. Slowly. Weapons down. Cole cursed under his breath but nodded. They followed the instructions, every movement watched from above. The gates creaked open just wide enough to let the truck pass. As soon as they were inside, it slammed shut behind them with a clang of finality. A dozen guns trained on them. Out, the older voice said. An older woman stepped forward, gray-haired but broad-shouldered, with a long scar cutting from her temple to her jaw. Her eyes, one cloudy with cataract, were like razors. I'm Commander Reese. This is my town. You brought a problem to our doorstep. Now you're going to explain it. Cole stepped forward. Name's Cole Matthews. We're survivors. We found the girl half dead and dragging a trail of infected behind her. We didn't know what she was carrying until it was too late. She's not bitten, Sierra said. I checked. But they're tracking her somehow. It's like she's marked. Reese narrowed her eyes. Marked how? No idea, Cole said. But they want her bad. Bad enough to break off from hunting us. She yours? Reese asked, jerking her chin toward Rafe and Tyler. No, Cole said. They found her before we did. Tyler raised a hand. We're not a threat. We were trying to help. Reese didn't blink. We'll see. Two of her guards dragged the girl out of the truck and carried her to a small medic tent inside the wall. Sierra followed them. Max stood close to Jenna, his rifle tight to his chest. He hadn't said a word since they passed the gate. I get it, Cole said, raising his hands. You don't know us. But that swarm's real, and it's close. We need to reinforce the north barricade, now. Reese finally turned away, barking orders to her people. Double the watch. Prep the Molotovs and fuel traps. If those freaks come, they'll burn. She looked back at Cole. You want to help? You're drafted. Go with Wallace, he'll put you on a post. Understood, Cole said, nodding. Tyler and Rafe were disarmed and led to a holding area near a row of sandbagged bunkers. Max was pulled aside by one of the guards to help secure weapons to the tower. Everyone was being put to work, there was no rest behind these walls. Later, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the low moans began. It wasn't a full swarm yet. But it was coming. Cole stood on the north wall with Wallace, a grizzled man with a cigarette clamped between his teeth and a sawed-off shotgun across his back. They always do this? Cole asked. Since last month, Wallace muttered. They come close but don't charge until after dark. Like they're testing us. Waiting for something, Cole said. A howl pierced the air, sharp, guttural, close. The others snapped to alert. Rifles raised. Molotovs lit. Then they appeared, over 100 of them, in the trees just outside the light. Watching. Smiling. One of them stepped forward, eyes glowing faintly under the torchlight. It didn't charge. It pointed, at the medic tent. They know she's here, Cole said grimly. And they're not leaving, Wallace whispered. Not until they have her. Let me know when you're ready for part 4, the tension is only rising from here. The first scream came just after midnight. A shrill, unnatural sound that cut through the silence and echoed off the barricades. Then came the howls, dozens of them, rising together in a bone-chilling chorus. Everyone in Baxter Ridge knew what it meant. The horde had arrived. Cole sprinted to the north wall, boots pounding against the metal-plated ground. Wallace was already there, shotgun aimed through a narrow firing slit. They're moving. Wallace growled. Coming in fast. Floodlights snapped on, bathing the tree-line in harsh yellow beams. Shadows danced and twisted, and then they emerged. The infected sprinted with a horrifying speed, eyes glowing faintly, limbs twitching in unnatural spasms. Some crawled on all fours like predators, while others charged upright, snarling. Cole fired. His first shot dropped one of the lead runners. Wallace followed, blowing another apart with a deafening blast. Around them, the defenders opened fire, rifles barking and muzzle flashes lighting up the night. From the watchtower, Max let loose with an LMG. The barrel glowed red as spent casings rained around his feet. Keep them away from the gate. Reese's voice boomed across the compound. Hold the line. The infected slammed into the barricades like a tidal wave. Spike traps shredded the first wave, but more came. They climbed over the bodies, shrieking, clawing, tearing at the walls. From behind, Sierra arrived breathless, blood staining her shirt. She's awake, she gasped. The girl. She said they know her name. Cole turned, stunned. What? She said they call to her. That they can hear her thoughts. That's not possible, Wallace muttered, still firing. She said they want to make her one of them, but not like the others, Sierra said, eyes wide with terror. They want her to lead them. Cole felt the words like a punch to the gut. She's a beacon, he muttered. That's how they're tracking us. Not by scent. Not by noise. They're connected. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the east barricade. A section of the wall blew inward, fire and smoke tearing through metal and sandbags. Screams followed. They're using fire? Wallace shouted. Cole didn't answer. The infected weren't just evolving physically. They were learning. Strategizing. Cole turned to Sierra. Get the girl and anyone who can move to the south bunker. If they breach, that's where we hold. I'm not leaving the fight, Sierra protested. We need her alive, he snapped. Go! Sierra hesitated, then ran. Cole grabbed a Molotov from a nearby crate, lit the rag, and hurled it over the wall. Flames erupted among the swarm, shrieking figures flailing as fire devoured them, but still more came. Rafe appeared at Cole's side, having broken free from the holding area. He held a blood-streaked machete, eyes wild. Where's Tyler? Cole asked. Gone, Rafe said, panting. He didn't make it. Cole had no time to process the loss. The gate creaked. Steel groaned. And then, it burst open. The infected poured in. Gunfire erupted at close range. Shotguns and rifles roared, screams filled the air. The town of Baxter Ridge became a war zone. Cole fought like a man possessed, each bullet measured, each step calculated. He moved through smoke and blood, cutting down anything with dead eyes. He made it to the medic tent just as Sierra burst out, dragging the girl, barely conscious, by her arm. We have to move. Sierra shouted. Max joined them, face smeared with soot and blood. The tower's gone. We're falling back. Cole nodded. South bunker. Let's go. They ran through the chaos, flaming wreckage, dying defenders, and infected overrunning the streets. Some of the townsfolk fled. Others made their last stand at windows and rooftops. The town was falling. They reached the bunker, a reinforced structure built into the hillside. Reese and a handful of survivors were already inside, sealing the heavy doors behind them. She's the reason they're here, Cole told her, gesturing to the girl. She's not infected, but she's linked to them. Reese didn't argue. She looked at the girl, barely clinging to consciousness, and then at Cole. We hold here, she said. If they break through this, we're done. Everyone nodded grimly. Outside, the sounds of the siege intensified. The infected clawed at the bunker doors, screeching and slamming. The metal groaned under the pressure. Then the girl stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, and for a moment, they glowed the same faint hue as the infected. Sierra recoiled. Did you see that? She's changing, Max whispered. No, Cole said, stepping forward. She's fighting it. The girl turned to him, eyes filled with fear. They're in my head. But I can feel them. All of them. Every thought. She trembled. They're waiting for someone stronger. A leader. And if you resist? Reese asked. They'll destroy everything, the girl whispered. But if I go to them, they might stop. Silence fell across the bunker. It wasn't a question of survival anymore. It was a question of sacrifice. The bunker's air was thick with smoke and fear. Dim emergency lights flickered overhead, casting eerie shadows across cracked concrete walls. Every breath felt heavier, every second longer. Outside, the pounding of infected fists echoed like a war drum. Cole knelt beside the girl, who lay shivering under a blood-soaked blanket. Her breathing was shallow, skin pale, and her eyes darted back and forth beneath fluttering lids, as if she were watching something no one else could see. She said they're waiting, Sierra whispered. That they want her to lead them. What does that even mean? It means she's not like the others, Reese said, pacing near the sealed door. Her expression was hard, jaw clenched. She's connected. A signal. Ah, command switch. Max stared at the ceiling, clutching his rifle to his chest. So what do we do? Let her go. Hope they just leave? They won't just leave, Cole said grimly. She said it herself. If she goes to them, she might stop the attack, but we lose her. If she stays, they keep coming. Reese stopped pacing and turned to Cole. What if she's lying? What if this is part of their plan? We let her walk out there, and she turns, then we've handed them exactly what they want. Sierra shook her head. No. She's terrified. She's fighting it. I saw it in her eyes. She could also lead them right through us, Max said. Silence settled over the room. Then the girl spoke. Her voice was faint but clear. They see through me. Feel through me. But I'm still me, for now. Cole leaned closer. What's your name? She hesitated. Arya. Arya, Cole repeated. You're not alone, okay? We're here. We'll protect you. Arya turned her glowing eyes toward him. You can't protect me from them. They're not like before. Something woke them up. Something made them smarter. Reese narrowed her eyes. Made them smarter? What does that mean? They weren't always this way, Arya said, voice trembling. Not until a few months ago. Before then, they wandered. Federal. Like animals. But something changed. Like they were waiting to be told what to do. Some kind of hive mind, Max muttered. A collective. Like ants. No, Arya said. Worse. Because they remember who they were. And they hate what they've become. Cole felt a chill run through him. And they think you can fix that? I don't know, she said. But they believe I'm the answer. Maybe the beginning. Or maybe the end. A loud crack echoed from above, then a hiss of air. Dust fell from the ceiling. They're trying to dig through the top, Reese said. If they collapse this bunker, we're done. We need to decide now, Sierra said. Do we keep running, or let Arya face them? No, Cole said. That's not a choice. We're not sacrificing her. We find another way. What way? Reese snapped. You think you can outgun a swarm of evolving monsters? We barely made it out of the last fight. Cole looked at Arya. What if she's not a weapon? What if she's a key? Sierra's eyes widened. You mean, use her connection? Not send her out, use it to our advantage. Arya looked confused. How? Cole stood. What if we send them a message? Through you. Not surrender. A warning. That you're not theirs. That you won't lead them. Maybe they'll stop, or break their link to you. Arya hesitated. I can try. Reese looked doubtful. You really think that'll work? I don't know, Cole said. But I'm not giving her to them. The pounding stopped. Suddenly, everything went quiet. Everyone froze. Cole stepped toward the door, rifle raised. A single breath passed, then two. Then, bang, bang, bang. But this time, it wasn't from the top. It was below. Reese's face paled. There's a maintenance tunnel under this bunker. It was sealed, but if they found it. They're not just stronger, Cole said. They're planning. Then the lights went out. A hiss of air. Pitch black. Sierra shouted, Get Arya out of here. There's a ladder behind the storage wall. Cole grabbed Arya and slung her over his back. Max and Rafe worked together, yanking open the false wall. More banging. Louder. Closer. Reese stood at the sealed steel door with a grenade in one hand, lips tight. I'll hold the front, she said. Go. You'll die, Cole said. She smiled grimly. Better me than the kid. The last thing Cole saw before climbing the ladder with Arya was Reese pulling the pin. Then, boom. The blast shook the world behind him. They reached the roof hatch and burst into the open air, greeted by moonlight and the stench of death. The town burned below them. But in the distance, hundreds of infected stood motionless, staring up at them. Waiting. And Arya whispered, "They're giving me one last chance to choose. Let me know when you're ready." Smoke curled around the ruins of Baxter Ridge. From the rooftop, Cole scanned the burning landscape, his rifle tight in his hands, eyes stinging from the heat. Buildings collapsed in slow groans, their bones blackened and broken. But it wasn't the fire that had Cole frozen. It was them. The infected. Hundreds of them. Standing still. Silent. As if waiting for permission to breathe. And in the center of it all stood one, a tall, pale figure with sunken eyes and twisted limbs. Its head tilted slowly to the side, studying Cole and Arya. It didn't charge. It didn't roar. It simply watched. Arya clutched the ledge beside Cole, her small fingers trembling. "That one, he's the one I feel strongest. He speaks to the others. He's their voice." Cole didn't lower his weapon. "And what's he saying?" Arya closed her eyes. "He's offering a choice. Again. Come with them. Lead them. Or watch everyone else die." Sierra, panting from the climb, pulled herself up onto the roof beside them. "That's not a choice. That's blackmail." "It's worse," Arya whispered. "He believes he's saving me. He thinks I belong to them. He thinks he's protecting me from you." Cole swallowed hard. "We need to move. The longer we stay here, the more likely they are to change their minds." Max emerged last, bruised and bloody. The south tunnels collapsed. "Reese's blast bought us a few minutes. Not much more." "Where's Rafe?" Sierra asked, looking behind him. Max just shook his head. No one said anything after that. Arya stood, shaking but determined. "I want to try something." Cole grabbed her arm. "Arya, no. I have to. If I don't, they'll come again. And next time, they won't stop." Without waiting for permission, she stepped forward, toward the edge of the roof, where a jagged antenna stood like a skeletal finger pointing to the sky. The infected didn't move. Arya placed both hands on the metal and took a deep breath. Her eyes fluttered open, now glowing bright gold. Not the corrupted red of the infected, something cleaner. Sharper. Her voice was small but carried across the air like a bell. "I'm not yours," she whispered. "I'm not your queen. I'm not your savior." The air shifted. The tall figure twitched, its head jerking once. "I remember who I was," Arya continued. "You don't get to take that away. Not from me. Not from anyone." The sky rumbled faintly, not thunder, but something deeper. Something like power shifting. "I felt what you've done. The cities you've burned. The minds you've broken. You want peace, but all you bring is rot." The infected began to stir, some twitching violently, others doubling over as if in pain. Arya's voice rose. "I'm not your future. I'm the end of your voice in my head. I'm the wall you can't break." Suddenly, the tall figure howled, a shriek that cracked the air like lightning. The infected screamed with it, a chorus of agony and rage. But instead of charging, they turned on each other. Cole's eyes widened. "What the hell is happening?" "They're splintering," Arya whispered, tears streaking her face. "Some of them, they're remembering. Some are breaking free." The tall infected thrashed violently, then bolted forward. Cole aimed, but Arya grabbed his arm. "No! He's not coming for me, he's coming to silence the others." The infected leader lunged, not at Arya, but at another infected who had dropped to its knees. The tall one crushed it with inhuman speed, then turned to another. "They're killing the ones who resist," Sierra said, voice tight with horror. "We have to stop this," Cole said, raising his rifle. Arya screamed, "No! Don't fire! That'll bring the rest back under his control." Cole froze, sweat pouring down his neck. Below them, the massacre unfolded, infected turning on infected, some resisting, others obeying. Chaos reigned. A civil war among monsters. And at its center, the tall infected climbed atop a rusted bus and roared, a cry of command. Arya collapsed. Cole caught her, yelling, "Arya! Stay with me! They're pulling me back in," she gasped. "He knows I'm the key. If I lose focus, he'll take everything." "Then we fight him," Max said, lifting a grenade launcher. "One shot, and the tide turns." "No," Cole said. "Too many of them are changing. If we kill him now, we risk wiping out the ones breaking free." "Then what?" Sierra snapped. "We just watch?" Arya's eyes opened again, weak but clear. "You protect me, long enough, and I can sever him from all of them." "How?" Cole asked. "I don't know," she said, smiling faintly. "But I feel it. He's not the hive. He's just the voice." They helped her up. Cole looked to the burning horizon. "Then it's time we silence that voice." The wind howled across the ruins of Baxter Ridge, carrying the scent of ash and rot. The infected war zone below burned with chaos, swarms of the undead tearing each other apart while the tall one, the voice, stood on the rusted bus, commanding with roars that cracked the air like thunder. Arya's face was pale, eyes dulling with every passing second. She leaned against Cole, her knees barely holding her weight. "He's losing control, but not fast enough." Cole glanced down at the crowd. "Then we speed it up." Sierra looked over the rooftop's edge. "They're not just fighting. They're choosing. You see that? Some are still obeying him, but others are just stopping." Max adjusted his scope and shook his head. "I've never seen anything like this. It's like they're waking up." The ground rumbled as the voice leapt from the bus, charging toward a cluster of hesitant infected, those resisting his call. With each movement, he reasserted control, each shriek binding others back into his will. "We can't let him keep pulling them back," Cole said. "We need to cut him off." "But if we kill him now," Max warned, "we might lose the ones who are resisting." Arya coughed and raised her hand. Her voice was raspy but resolute. "No. I can isolate him. I can reach the ones who broke away, give them something stronger to hold on to." Cole turned to her. "How?" "I need time," she said. "And elevation. Somewhere I can project." Sierra pointed across the rubble-strewn street. "Broadcast tower. It's mostly intact. If we can get her up there." Max cursed under his breath. "That's deep in infected territory. One wrong move, and we're dead." "We don't have a choice," Cole said. "Get her to the tower. I'll draw him away." "Alone?" Sierra asked. "That's suicide." "Not if I do it loud and fast," Cole said. "He knows Arya's the key. But if I make enough noise, maybe I can look like the threat." Max clapped him on the shoulder. "You better not die, man. You still owe me ammo." Cole smirked. "Add it to my tab." Moments later, the plan was in motion. Arya, Sierra, and Max moved through the side streets, using collapsed buildings for cover. Cole ran the opposite direction, firing into the air, shouting at the top of his lungs. "Hey! You ugly son of a, come and get me." The voice turned sharply, its milky eyes narrowing. With an inhuman snarl, it barreled toward the sound. Cole ducked behind cars, tossing noise grenades, drawing the beast deeper into the southern ruins. Each echo of his rifle pulled more infected into the chase, but not all followed. Many still stood frozen, caught between commands, uncertain. Meanwhile, Max helped Arya climb the skeletal frame of the broadcast tower. The wind howled, and the metal groaned beneath their weight. "This better work," he muttered. Sierra set up her rifle, scanning the street below. "We'll buy her as much time as we can." At the top, Arya touched the rusted console. The remaining wires sparked faintly. She closed her eyes. I don't need electricity, she whispered. I am the frequency now. Her body began to glow with soft gold light, faint at first, then brighter. The wind seemed to still. A strange calm spread outward from the tower. Below, infected began to halt mid-stride. They twitched. Stared blankly at one another. Cole, bleeding from a gash across his ribs, ducked into a collapsed pharmacy. The voice crashed through the front window seconds later, snarling. But then, it stopped. It turned, slowly. And it looked up. Toward the tower. Cole raised his gun. Yeah. She's not yours anymore. At the tower's peak, Arya spread her arms. Her voice echoed, not aloud, but inside the minds of every infected soul within miles. You don't belong to him. You are not rage. You are not disease. You are people. Families. Friends. You are not his army. You are free. A wave rippled through the infected ranks. Dozens collapsed to their knees. Some screamed, not in anger, but in pain. Memory. Guilt. Then came silence. The voice reeled as if struck. It clutched its head, snarling in agony. Cole stepped forward. You feel that? That's your control slipping. The creature howled, and charged again. But this time, it wasn't alone. Behind it, a dozen infected broke ranks. And they attacked him. Claws tore. Teeth bit. The voice screamed as its own kind overwhelmed it. Cole barely escaped the collapse of the pharmacy as the fight raged. Then, silence. Only the crackle of fire. Cole limped toward the tower. Max waved. She did it. Sierra helped Arya down. Her body was limp, but breathing. They're still out there, Arya whispered, eyes heavy. But now, they know they have a choice. Cole knelt beside her. Then we make sure they remember it. In the distance, hundreds of infected stared. Still. Quiet. Watching. Waiting. Let me know when you're ready for Part 8, the final part, where humanity's last stand becomes something far more powerful, a beginning. Part 8, the last stand at sunrise. The sky was no longer black. Pale light bled across the horizon, touching the ruined city of Baxter Ridge with thin, golden fingers. Smoke curled lazily from the fires still smoldering in the streets, but the roars were gone. The screams had stopped. The world, for the first time in years, felt still. Cole stood at the base of the broadcast tower, his arm in a sling, his clothes torn and blood-stained. Beside him, Arya sat on a broken step, her face pale but calm. Her eyes were no longer glowing, but something in them had changed. Strength. Clarity. Peace. They're not coming, Sierra said as she climbed down from the lookout perch. The ones who heard her, they're just standing out there. Like they're waiting for orders that won't come. Cole scanned the perimeter. Hundreds of infected dotted the distance. But they didn't move. Didn't attack. They simply watched. Max joined them, dragging a salvage generator behind him. We've got enough juice to power short-range comms. No guarantees. But I might be able to send a burst to any outposts still listening. Sierra crossed her arms. Think anyone's still out there? I think, Max said, looking at Arya, we just gave them a reason to be. Cole knelt beside Arya. You sure you're okay? She nodded. The voice is gone. But the others, they're still inside the fog. Some are awake. Some aren't. But now they know it's possible. And that's what he feared most. He? Cole asked. The one who controlled them all. He wasn't just infected, she said. He was something more. Something broken. He became their instinct. Their chain. Their fear. I didn't destroy him. I just reminded the others they weren't born to serve. Cole looked out at the undead. And now? They wait, she said. For us to decide what we do next. The team fell silent. Sierra finally asked, "So what do we do with them?" Before anyone could answer, a crackle burst from Max's radio setup. "Hello? This is Command Station Echo." "Repeat, Command Station Echo." "Signal received. Request response. Is there anyone alive out there?" Max's eyes widened. It worked. Cole grabbed the mic. "This is Baxter Ridge survivors. We're alive. We've got a situation. A major one." There was a pause on the other end. "Then, you're not the first." Similar reports from 2 other sectors. Infected standing down. Some even protecting humans. What the hell happened out there? Cole turned to Arya. She simply smiled faintly. "We found the crack in the wall," Cole said into the mic, "and someone brave enough to step through it. Can you hold your position?" Cole looked to the others. Max nodded. Sierra raised her rifle. Arya closed her eyes and whispered, "We have to." "We'll hold," Cole said. "But we're going to need help. Supplies. Medicine. And maybe someone to tell the world what just changed." "Copy that," Command replied. "Sending recon and med units. You may have just turned the tide, Baxter Ridge." The radio clicked off. Cole stood and faced the others. "You heard M. We're not alone." Sierra whistled. "First time I've heard that in years." In the distance, a figure emerged from the tree line. Not running. Not snarling. Just walking. Everyone stiffened. Cole raised his rifle halfway. "Wait." The figure stopped. It was infected. But unarmed. Unthreatening. Its eyes were clear. Its hands raised. Then, without a sound, it turned and walked back into the fog. Max exhaled. "What was that?" "A message," Arya said. "They're listening. They're watching what we choose to do next." A long pause. Then Cole said, "Then we build something worth watching." That night, they lit signal fires across the rooftops. Markers for anyone still out there. Beacons of survival. A warning to the infected still loyal to the old ways, and an invitation to those willing to resist. Days passed. Others came. Survivors drawn by the broadcast. Some arrived alone. Some in small caravans. Some infected, dazed, and terrified, begging for help. Cole, Sierra, Max, and Arya stood at the center of it all, forming a new kind of defense. Not just against the undead, but for the possibility of rebuilding. For the first time, Baxter Ridge became more than a battlefield. It became a symbol. Not of what had ended, but of what might begin. Series end. Let me know if you'd like a cinematic AI-generated thumbnail prompt for this final part, or if you'd like help writing a new story in this universe.